Welcome to the Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. I am Landry Locker. You know I'm on the road. There's a lot of chaos going on in these streets. A lot of chaos going on at the mom's house. There was a book club downstairs, stepdad's upstairs. So I just decided to kind of stay in this like old-fashioned room and react to what Bobby Slowik had to say. Be sure to subscribe, like, ride along. I'll be back in the studio tomorrow. So things will be back to normal, and we'll be back in the usual routine. Let's hear what all Bobby had to say, though. Bobby Slowik met with the media, and my question is here: when it comes to Bobby Slowik, is Bobby Slowik safe no matter what? Is Bobby Slowik going to be back as offensive coordinator no matter what, or is Bobby Slowik coaching for his gig? I think he's safe no matter what. Am I saying that should be the case? No. But I have trust issues with this regime at the moment. It's early. Those trust issues can be eliminated, but I don't know if I don't know. Fred says laid back Landry. Not now. I'm just kind of trying to stay out of the way. I'll be back on 45 tomorrow, right after the radio show, which ends at 1. Be right back up 45 and ready to go. Right now, I'm just staying out of the way. It's crazy on those streets. As women get crazy about their book clubs, and there's a lot going on. But I think Bobby Slowik is safe no matter what. I think that they think perhaps it's a personnel thing. They could be right. They think he's a good offensive coordinator. You saw Nick Caserio defend Bobby Slowik. You've heard D'Amico defend Bobby Slowik, even when it kind of seems indefensible at times. So I think Bobby Slowik's safe. I think he's safe no matter what. I don't know what a well-rested Bobby Slowik offense is going to look like. Maybe he'll give us an idea of what it looks like. I don't know. Hopefully, you're getting more production out of Dalton Schultz and Tank Dell. If not, then this could go really, really bad. This is no leisure, sir. This is hiding. I'm hiding. I'm hiding from those streets. That crazy book club. Um, Cam says he or she doesn't see anyone viable enough uh, to replace him. I think Josh McCown. I know that it's kind of a running joke how I carry Josh McCown's water. Uh, if you could get Josh McCown, I think Josh McCown. He's in this system now. He's got all the experience that we've covered for a long time when it was a joke. Uh, he's working with Sam Darnold this year. I'd say he's doing a good job, and he's doing more than just walking around. They showed him mic'd up the other day. It's very apparent. Um, they've liked him for a while. Uh, the stuff has kind of died down. I know he was getting a lot of smoke because of the B enemy situation. I think that's kind of played out. Um, I think Josh McCown would be a good offensive coordinator. That would be mine. That's me. And someone says, "What about the Vikings OC?" Yeah, and that's their quarterback coach is Josh McCown. And the Texans tried to hire him not once but twice. Kind of a joke of a process, joke of an organization. Uh, if uh, if we're being honest. But my guy would be Josh McCown. So I'm not even hesitating on that. Let's hear from Bobby Slowik, previously mentioned OC for the Texans. Let's hear what he has to say because there was some interesting things from old Bobby. Let's hear what he's got to say. Here's Bobby Slowik, fresh off the bye week. Fresh, yeah, he looks rested.
Especially Jalen Ramsey. You can see it from him and match up with Nico.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens as far as the matchup goes. We kind of prepare every week. What if teams decide to match? What if teams don't? And what if they do both? And how we go into the game. I know all of our guys, all of our skills are really ready for whatever winds up happening. We'll adjust. And Jalen's a really good player. He's been a really good player for a long time. I've gone against him, it feels like 10 times now. And every time I've gone against him, he's impacted the game in like a great deal in some way, shape, or form. And I anticipate that to be no different this week. I mean, we got a lot of respect for Jalen and what he does. Really got a lot of respect for their defense. 93 and 92 are big time defensive linemen. They do a really nice job. They got a good front seven. They got a good back end. They got safeties that are involved in the run and the pass game. I mean, they do a heck of a job, and they've been playing some really good ball lately. So we got a great challenge in front of us. And I know Nico, Tank, Dalton, Joe, and our line and CJ, and everyone's just excited to roll and see what we can do.
Right. That's him talking about Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey ain't shutting down Nico Collins. Like there's no Ramsey Island. I don't that's fine if they want to do it, and it'll be interesting to see whenever they have a situation when they face a corner that's capable of it. But he's not capable of handling that at all. I don't think that's gonna happen when it comes to Bobby Slowik. So I'm not believing that Jalen Ramsey is just gonna come out there and shut him down. I'll believe that when I see it. I'm not a fan of that. Someone talking about the McCown thing. What makes me think Josh McCown would be a good OC? And I'm ready to get back in the damn studio. If you can't tell, uh, that'll be tomorrow's show. We'll be back in the studio. So the audio and stuff, y'all just got to bear with me. Y'all know how this goes. I could have just shut it down. I'm not going to shut it down, but bear with me on the audio. But that's what Slowik said about that. What makes you think McCown would be a good OC? He's never been an OC. LOL. Every OC in the history of ever at some point had never been an OC. So what does that mean? You want just guys who would have been OCs? So you would have turned down Sean McVay back in the day. You would have turned down what does that mean? We don't even know what kind of offense he would want. Right now, he's in this system. He's in this system with Sam Darnold. What would make me think he would be a good OC? He's been in 12 different NFL buildings over the course of his career. He's kind of an extra coach in the building. There's been situations where coaches have let him call games in preseason, and there have been an endless amount of coaches, players, teammates, all that who've spoken highly of him. So I think he's going to end up being a good coach. But he's never been an OC. He has a lot of experience, and he's doing a pretty damn good job with Sam Darnold right now, and all that. So I would say that would be why I would say that. Yes, I do have the man. I'm a big Josh McCown guy. Guilty as charged. No doubt about that. Don't know anything about his eyes. Don't know what his eyes look like. Bull Rush might be telling on himself. I think he might be a McCown guy. But that would be my go-to. I wouldn't want to waste part of CJ's control on a first try. Okay. I mean, you've seen McVay give guys their first try. You've seen a lot of guys have strived under the first try, and I think he'd be able to work with the quarterback. But who knows? Here's more from Bobby Slowik. Let's hear more. The offense was okay against Jacksonville, but we're talking about this almost like it's some sort of massive accomplishment, and that this is what Texans football is all about. You scored 23 points against the Jags. Yeah, you scored 14 in the fourth quarter, but you scored 23 points. Okay, in the first half you scored 3, and then you scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and it's getting talked about as almost like some sort of game where the Texans just shook them haters off. I don't understand it. I don't understand why that game is being talked about as some kind of like turn the corner, we shook them haters off. And quite frankly, I don't know what to even expect from Bobby Slowik. I think they offensively, I think there's a number of things that they might think behind the scenes that they just don't want to admit. But I don't know what they think is going on there. There's a Case Keenum theory. He misses Case Keenum. Case Keenum's still in the building. Case Keenum's still in meetings. He's still helping him out. You mean you want him on the sidelines? I don't know about that. Jose says he thinks the seat is warm for Bobby Slowik. This last stretch is going to be important. I don't know if it is. I think he might be safe no matter what. I definitely didn't watch that Jags game and say everything looks better. I didn't watch that game and say everything looks better. CJ Stroud was 22 of 34 for 242 and a touchdown. Mixon 20 for 101. He did what he do. Nico did what he does. Dalton had his best game. Tank Dell had 1 catch. Mechie had 2. Like your non-Nico Collins wide receivers had 3 catches for 39 yards. Dalton Schultz had 5 for 61. And this is getting talked about like it's like, yeah, that's Texans football right there. Really? That's how low the bar is? That's where we're at? Because you scored 23 against Jacksonville? We'll see what it looks like when they get it going. And if they're able worse. It can't be worse. Those are famous last words. I've heard that about the offensive line for a while. Is Zach Thomas better than Kendrick Green? I don't know. He hasn't played a lot of guard. Is he better than Kenyon Green? I don't know, but I'd like to see it. I'd like to see what it looks like. I don't know if he's better than Kendrick Green. I don't think Kendrick Green is as bad as they do. They seem to not like Kendrick Green. So I don't know what's going on with that. I know I'm ready to get back in the damn studio. Get out of this damn guest spot. Someone's asking about Josh McCown. I made that clear. Are you opposed to Josh McCown getting hired on as of next year? No, I'm not. Big fan. Mike says, let's win out and go into the playoffs with real momentum. Win out would be, I mean, you would have some real momentum. If you went out, I mean, if they won out, then that changes the whole tone of where you're at. Because that would mean that they beat Miami, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and then they beat the Titans. And that would mean they finished the season 12-5. Probably the 3 seed. If we're being honest, like that would probably get you a 3 seed with what Pittsburgh has ahead of them. So yeah, that would be some real momentum for sure. I don't know what you would bet on that. If you put a parlay on that, I bet you could probably win thousands on that. There's a Kendrick and a Kenyon Green. Just so y'all know, there's 2, Mike. You might not know though because they don't like to play him. So unless you follow closely, you might not know. So I don't blame you for knowing that. Cam says it's not possible to win out with this offense. It's damn near impossible. Don't know that I necessarily disagree. H-Town Red, I think Ben Johnson would be a great hire for the Houston Texans OC next year. What are you playing, Madden? Dude's going to get a head coaching job. He's probably going to get 8 figures to do it, too. Yeah, that would be a nice hire, though. I agree. If you could get Ben Johnson as OC, that'd be nice. Win out that high grade? Perhaps. Not as high grade as anyone who thinks you could hire Ben Johnson as an OC. That definitely would not happen. But I think Bobby's safe. Do I think he should be? Yeah, probably not. I think he's safe. I don't think Bobby's going anywhere. I think they're very satisfied with it for whatever it is. I mean, this is a defensive-minded coach. So that's just kind of where they're at. If you're just tuning in, I'm in the room because there's a book club going on downstairs. I went up 45 to host at the top radio station in the country this week. Still doing the Texan stuff. But there's a book club going on downstairs. And there's some stuff going on in the hallway. So I was like, rather than go out there and get in that smoke, I'm just going to sit here and lounge. Tired as hell, Landry. Nah, no vacation. I mean, it's kind of relaxing, though. Yeah, getting to see the fam. We didn't come here for Thanksgiving. The wife and the baby, dog. We normally come here Thanksgiving. Didn't come this year. Decided we just wanted to chill. And I'm hosting some radio up here. Good opportunity. But yeah, it's an interesting setup. The book club mafia not playing safe. No, they're playing. They're hanging out, having some good times. Yeah, Ben Johnson's going to Chicago. I would agree. I would say that was there. Come on, man. You think they need some high grade? Mike says, honestly, I think CJ is having a sophomore slump. Look at the history of the sophomore slump of all the rookie QBs who came into the league hot. I mean, it's definitely not what we expected. It's not what he expected. Um, how much is he struggling? I mean, he's not playing as good as he can. How much? I think it's. I think you can say it's a sophomore slump for Bobby Slowik, and maybe even D'Amico Ryans. It's definitely a sophomore slump for Tank Dell when you just look at the production. Um, but yeah, I guess you could say sophomore slump for CJ Stroud. I don't know if it's connected to like any of the other examples that you say that uh, are out there. I just think it's a normal sophomore slump. Um, he's gonna be fine though. I mean, I'm not. I don't. It hasn't been a bad enough time to where you're like, oh, this guy ain't got it. Um, inevitable growing pains for a quarterback, but sophomore slump, sure. Just based on expectations. I mean, a lot of times it's kind of weird, like in a sports debate. Sometimes, like you say something and then you start arguing, and you don't even know like what exactly is meant by it. So like if you're like a real CJ truther and someone says he's having a sophomore slump, then you might argue and defend it, but you don't even know what they mean by sophomore slump. Like you don't know what that is. Like if you said he's not playing as well as maybe we expected him to, I would agree with that. But as far as sophomore slump, kinda, I guess. Uh, but I agree with P Walker that he's definitely running for his life the whole time. Yeah, I mean this isn't comfortable for him. They're not making him comfortable. More times than not, they're not making him comfortable. And I always think it's kind of a slippery slope. It's kind of a double-edged sword when you start talking about CJ Stroud, the way that he's moving around and all that, the way he's having to run for his life, the pressure rate, and then whenever he maybe feels out pressure too early or he senses pressure too early, that he's not as accurate as he is when he's comfortable. So I do think there's other elements, and I think Bobby Slowik can agree. It's like, do I think that like the best offensive coordinator in the world with this personnel is going to come in here um, and make this like an elite offense? No, hell no, absolutely effing not. Uh, but do I? But do I think it should be a lot better than it is? Yeah, I don't think it should be too dependent on guys. I do think they have one of the most unproductive receiving rooms two down in the NFL. I think the tight end position leaves a little to the imagination. I don't think there's any depth at running back. But CJ Stroud's still got to be better, and so does Bobby Slowik. Do you think we need another big body at receiver? Michael's asking. Do you think, man, why are you flipping me off, Michael? Do you think we need another big body at receiver? Uh, I know we need an upgrade at left guard. Um, I think they need more receivers. I think they need more running backs. I think they could use tight ends. I think they need, and they needed this last year, offensive weaponry. Now, they did bring in Mixon, but they needed to bring in another starting running back because they lost Singletary. It's a clear upgrade, though. They needed to bring in Diggs. I don't want to bring Diggs back. I want to get someone younger. I would like to kick the tires on someone that either has unrealized potential, that's young, kind of like what the Browns are doing with Jerry Jeudy, or I want to just draft a receiver. But yeah, I think they need a receiver for sure. I mean, it's not getting done with John Mechie and Xavier Hutchinson. That's not getting the job done. So yeah, I absolutely think that they need that. Can Mechie catch? Yeah, he can catch. Is John Mechie someone you want as your number 3 receiver? I would say probably not. Diggs still got it, but he's also got an injury, and he's also getting older, and he's also probably going to want a contract. And you're going to have to pay some guys, and I think you can get maybe some more explosiveness. I like what he did. Someone says kick the tires on Hunter Renfrow. Is he even still trying to play? What the hell is that honky up to? Garrett Wilson to Houston. What's the price of that? I mean, I like Garrett Wilson. What are we talking? A first plus? What's the price of that? Slowik said it earlier in the year that his main goal was to get the ball to one. After Diggs and Collins went down, it completely fell apart. He said his main goal was to get the ball to one. Can you direct me in that? Can you direct me to that press conference? I've been at every press conference that Bobby Slowik has had this year. Uh, Today was the only one I wasn't at because I'm handling some business and taking advantage of a opportunity that I got. But can you direct me, sir, Tay, in the direction of when Bobby Slowik said, "My main goal is to get the ball to one"? Help me out there. Give you $100 if you can get me that quote where Bobby Slowik said, "quote My main goal is to get the ball to one." Baker didn't have guys. Neither does Bryce. They still scoring. Kicks is out on CJ, man. How about that? My man Jerome Kicks is out on CJ. Kicks has had some wild takes this year, and by wild I think good. I think they're good. But he's out on CJ. Yeah, no thank you on Diggs. Um, get AJ Brown along with Nico and move Tank to the slot next year. What's the price? What's the price? Don't try to backtrack, Kicks. You're out on CJ, man. You're out. Kicks is out. Man, I can't wait to get back in the studio. I can't wait to get back in the H, to be honest with you. Hit the door running tomorrow. Gonna be fun. Someone says, need another upgrade in this draft to take Shaq. Shaq is getting too old. Do y'all realize that Shaq Mason's only 31 years old? Like, I know he looks older. It kind of feels like he's a little bit older. I think he's in his early 30s. Offensive lineman can play for a while. I mean, I'm not agreeing. I agree with your overall premise, and I 100% agree with you that the interior line and the guards haven't been good. But how crazy is it that he's 31? Uh, is there any hope for the offense? I mean, we're hearing about CJ. We're hearing about offseason. Like, do any of you have any confidence, any hope in Bobby Slowik? I think the answer is no. I think this is a handcuffed offense. I think what this offense relies on, and that's another thing. Once again, it's my two best friends that are at these press conferences. It was Cody Stutes today, and it was Will Kunkel yesterday, or Will Kunkel 2 days ago, where they asked one of the coaches. For Kunk, it was D'Amico. For Stutes, it was Slowik. They asked him like basics about like learning stuff about your team and then the offense. And they both say we got to learn. We got to focus on who we are and what we do and all this type of stuff and what we do well. And they didn't emphasize what they do well. The hell's wrong with my guys? Dude, I'm in DF Dub. Got some radio hosting and visiting mom. Uh, but mainly hosting this week. Top station in the country. Can't trust Bobby Slowik's play calling. That's true. But I just want to know what they think their strengths are. Because for me, the strength of this offense is Joe Mixon, please run the ball and out alpha the opposing team. Nico Collins, please catch ball, out alpha the other team. CJ Stroud, do what you can. Can't guarantee you that you're going to have a clean pocket. Yeah, you might have to run sometimes to make plays, and that's it. There's no like scheming guys open. We don't see that. And then sometimes, like what you see early, you don't see later on. And usually later on, you don't see anything in the second half. So I don't even know what the strengths are. Like when we talk about who we are and stuff, like we got to lean on what we do well and who we are. What do y'all do well? What are we doing well? No comment. No comment. No comment. No comment. Is the Mechie project over? I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's going to be under contract next year. He's going to be at camp. I'm assuming that they're going to have more talent at the position. I don't think that they're going to sit there and think that they can play him at the 3. Uh, but yeah, Schultz was a bad signing. I don't know if I agree with that. The tight end market was rough. I will agree with you there. Miami has completely revived Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith's one of the most productive receiving tight ends in football this year. He's explosive too. I don't know if Schultz was a bad signing. I I just think that there's not a lot of versatility at the tight end position. I'll put it that way. Hand the ball to Mixon, that's what we do well. And a lot of times he's just out alphaing and he's just taking it to the end zone. What a I just don't I'm not confident in this offense. I'm not confident in this offense. I'm also but I think Bobby Slowik is safe. It is a locker room number one source for Texans digital content. I'm live. I'm in the room. I'm hiding, uh, getting some business done. I'll be back tomorrow in studio, so things will be back to normal. Sound, all that stuff. But the streams don't stop. Ain't no excuses. Got to get the stream going. What if Christian Harris played all season? If Christian Harris was healthy all season, what happens? Does that mean we see less Pitre? Do we see less Henry To'oTo'o? What happens if Christian Harris is healthy all season? How much of the 100% snap count with Jalen Pitre or, high 90s, mid 90s, whatever, had to do with a set plan, or how much did it have to do with like kind of a pivot from Christian Harris? Because I think D'Amico, uh, on the other side of the rock, D'Amico's masterful with the way that he handles the defense. Bobby Slowik, D'Amico Ryans great. Now, in fairness, D'Amico Ryans has a lot more to work with than Bobby Slowik. He's got elite guys up front. He's got one of the best in the game at what he do on the outside, although you could say Nico Collins is one of the best in the game in Stingley. And then he's got some other stuff to work with. But as far as even when those guys are out and he's missing pieces, D'Amico gets the job done. So it's the complete opposite of what we see on offense. But what if Harris had been totally healthy all season? Does he replace To'oTo'o? And they still playing 2 linebackers the majority of the time? Is it him, To'oTo'o, and Aziz? And maybe we just see more of a traditional 4-3 instead of the 4-2-5, and we see the 4-2-5 situationally. You can make a case that we don't see the progression of Jalen Pitre in that role at as much of a level had Christian Harris been on the field. Not sure what the right answer is, but I do think it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like. Because let's just be honest. I'm not wishing it. I'm not going to sit here and be like Babe Ruth and point to the fence and call my shot. But there's a chance that Jimmy Ward at some point is going to miss a few plays. Those are the odds. There's a decade-long body of work. Hell, there's a body of work this year to where he's going to miss. They're not going to move anyone else into that nickel role, at least not for 80, 90% of the snaps. Jimmy Ward was elite at it 2 years ago. Jalen Pitre was really good at it this year. So that's kind of an easy little transition. But if Christian Harris is healthy, are we going to see more 4-3 if Jimmy's not out there? We might even see it anyways because you have Eric Murray at safety and you want to put Jimmy Ward back there instead of Eric Murray. D'Amico's got a lot of juggling to do. We talk about what Bobby Slowik's got to do. Bobby Slowik's got to figure some stuff out, and he's got obstacles to overcome. D'Amico's got some juggling of his own with Pitre being out and with the safety situation being what it is. You got a youngster that you feel really good about, and then you got a guy that's a reserve safety that ideally you don't want to be a starting safety in Eric Murray. So you got to figure that out. I am excited to see what this defense will look like when they get the linebackers back, especially once the playoffs come around. Corners, yeah. You're hanging by a thread at corner. You're hanging by a thread. You got two really, really good ones playing about 100% of the snaps, but that's still a lot to ask. Teams are going to be running 3-4 wide receiver sets. What are you going to do? Who's that third corner going to be? It's a lot to think of. Brandon says this is a top 10 offense or higher if they are healthy all year. You're saying if they had Diggs, Brevin Jordan all year? I mean, I guess you could say that. But I mean, this is what we did last year when the receivers were hurt. Like, I'm sure you can go down the entire NFL and talk about teams that are missing guys in some way, shape, or form. Chiefs brought in Hollywood Brown, and he never even stepped on the field, did he? There's a lot of guys that are missing right now. You're not going to get a fully healthy squad. It's just never going to happen. You got to overcome it at times. So we'll see how it goes. Appreciate y'all for coming through. I'll be back in the studio tomorrow. I can't effing wait. Had to hide out here. Might go down there and try to grab some grub now. I feel like a damn high schooler. I was like 2 decades ago. That's what I feel like, though. I'm ready to get home. Be hosting on the radio, top station in the country tomorrow, one last time. I'll be doing it on New Year's as well, though. But I'll be back on the scene. I'll be back on the mix. I'll be in the building on Sunday, and I'll be right here. And I appreciate y'all for rolling through very, very much, bearing with me. But y'all know, man, I ain't going to skip no stream. Hadn't happened in 3 years. It happens very rarely. I ain't going to do it. I don't care that Bobby Slowik sounded like a bad version of T-Pain. It ain't going down like that. So be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe to SNL, and be sure to remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Thanks for coming through. I will see you tomorrow in the studio. I'll also see you on SNL, going right up 45 after the show. Appreciate y'all for bearing with me. All love.